everyone, this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I want to talk to you about the Weston A or the Wise Traditions diet for nursing and pregnant mothers. First of all, welcome everyone to my channel, and everyone who is new, I would hope that you subscribe to my channel so we can continue to grow this community. Also hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and comment below if you're eating the Wise Traditions diet or if you've implemented any of the principles. Let me know what some of your favorites are. And also share this video. All these things will help us to grow this community even more. So I'm going to use my notes here, which is a magnet I have from the Weston A Foundation. I've been eating this way since 2011 when I changed my diet, and I was going through quite a health crisis at the moment, at that time, and I really turned my health around by eating this way, and I never turned back. I'm so grateful to have found this way of eating before I ever had any children, and now we're on our third baby, and so I wanted to share with you the best practices, the most nourishing way to eat as a pregnant woman or nursing, or if you're preparing for conception. The Weston Price Foundation recommends that you eat this diet a minimum like 6 months before you're ready to conceive. If you've been eating a bad diet, like the standard American diet, for a long time, they recommend that you eat this diet for a minimum of 2 years before you conceive. Now, I don't think there are any hard and fast rules to that. It's obviously up to you, whatever you do. Obviously, the more time you're eating this diet, the better. But I'm just supplying you with this information. So first of all, they recommend cod liver oil to supply 20,000 IUs of vitamin A and 2,000 IUs of vitamin D per day. Now, I used to take, I think 1 or 2 teaspoons a day during pregnancy of cod liver oil. Now, I have stopped that practice because in some carnivore circles they were talking about how it's kind of unnatural to be eating fish oil or even cod liver oil for that matter, because they're polyunsaturated fats, they're cold oils, and they just I forget how they explained it, but it kind of made sense. Dr. Ray Peat, I know, has talked about polyunsaturated fats and maybe even fish oils. I read a little bit up about yellow fat disease, I think it's called. So that kind of stopped me from consuming cod liver oil. However, that being said, once a week on Fridays, because I try to do fish Fridays or no meat Fridays, even outside of Lent, because for Catholics, even though it's not required to do fasting from meat the other Fridays out of the year, the requirement for penance on Fridays is still there. And so a lot of Catholics, if they're keeping with the penance on Fridays, they like to just stick with the no meat or just fish Fridays because it's easier to remember. So anyway, that's what I do, and I eat a can of cod livers every single Friday. I try to stick with that, and I do consume some of the oil with that. There's a lot of oil with it, and it's very fresh. Now, when I was taking cod liver oil, I found that even if you're like keeping it in the fridge, and you're just keeping a small amount of it, you're going through it fast, sometimes it can start to taste a little rancid and it won't taste very fresh. I have not had that issue with the cod livers at all. They are very, very fresh. When you open the can, it smells pleasant. You taste it. It does not taste like you're tasting cod liver oil. It just, it's very pleasant tasting and fresh. The brand that I have is ICAN. I believe it's ICAN. And the best price I have found, unfortunately, is on Amazon. All the other prices are kind of astronomical. So that is one of the only times I do use Amazon. I think it's for a good purpose. I wish I could find a better option. Let me know if you guys know a better option than Amazon for that below in the comments. All right, so moving on. 1 quart of whole raw milk and or 4 to 5 ounces of raw cheese daily. Now, I didn't measure this in other pregnancies. I thought, oh, a quart sounds like so much milk, but it actually really isn't, because I found that I was doing that anyway. I just didn't realize it, because I drink a tall glass of raw milk every single morning with breakfast. And if you fill it all the way to the top, that's 16 ounces. And then I also drink a whole nother big glass of raw milk before I go to bed, and it is 16 ounces. So I am actually having a quart of raw milk daily, and I do have cheese here and there as well. So I'm definitely meeting that requirement. 4 tablespoons of butter daily, preferably from pasture-fed cows. We love butter in our household, so I may or may not get through that depending on what I'm eating in the day or what kind of fat I'm cooking with. 2 or more eggs or egg yolks daily, preferably from pasture chickens. I eat 2 eggs for breakfast every morning, and sometimes I get more eggs, like if I'm having mayonnaise or other sauces or things like that that require the eggs in it. 3 to 4 ounces of fresh liverwurst or pate once or twice per week. Now, I don't think I meet that every single week. I do try to eat liver once a week, or an organ meat of some kind once a week, but it says once or twice a week, and usually it's just once a week for me. But sometimes I will be eating it for multiple meals, because I don't typically freeze my leftovers. I typically just eat through them, and with more people in our family, it's easier to do that. Fresh seafood several times per week, particularly wild salmon, shellfish, and fish eggs. Now, I haven't been meeting this one as much, at least the particular amount of seafood that there are, particular kinds of seafood they're saying, like salmon, shellfish, and fish eggs. I have, from time to time, had shellfish, and I think one of the times I had fish eggs, but honestly, those things are very expensive. I really would like to have them more often, but just with our budget constraints, like just fish is very expensive. So I typically have like the safe catch tuna on Fridays, but here and there I will do other things. Like I did do oysters recently. This past Friday, or it was meant to be on Friday, but it ended up being Saturday. I had octopus that I cooked. But yeah, I'll try to meet that more often. There's lots of nutrients found in fish eggs, especially. So if your budget can afford it, then definitely go for it. I'm trying to remember, there's a company that sells wild caught salmon eggs, and if I think of it, I will send you guys it. But my tip is, if you have a local grocery store or Harris Teeter near you, Harris Teeter is in our area, you can actually buy 2 different wild caught fish eggs there. We have wild caught salmon roe, and I think the other one is whitefish. It's the yellow ones, and they're in the refrigerated section right by the meat and seafood section. Every once in a while it's on sale for like $1 off. So I actually did see it on sale recently, so maybe I should grab it. But they're pretty good, and I do have a recipe on my channel for like a salmon roe spread. I forget what I called it, but it's actually a really good recipe with cream cheese, and you guys would probably like it. Even if you're pregnant, like, and having aversions, the cream cheese just makes it taste really good. Okay, next, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil daily, used in cooking smoothies or melted in hot water. I definitely don't do this. I feel like I can't really meet every single requirement on here, because sometimes it seems like a lot of food. But yeah, I don't cook with coconut oil as much unless I'm making popcorn. Yeah, I typically just use animal fat, which I think is fine. And then they say fresh beef, lamb, pork, or game daily. Always consume with the fat. Pretty much eat beef every single day except for Fridays, so that's good. Never skim on the fat for us. Oily fish or lard daily for vitamin D. We do cook with a lot of lard in our household, and I do try to get sunlight as much as I can, even in the wintertime, because we live in South Carolina near the coast, and we can actually get vitamin D hours year round where we are. So depending on where you live, the latitude, you may be able to get vitamin D year round. I think it's south of Virginia. If you're in the United States, that's the line where it cuts off. When we were in North Carolina, we weren't able to get as much vitamin D as we are here in South Carolina. So just check. There's a wonderful app called D-Minder, and you can enter in your latitude. You can make reports like daily and just say like, okay, I got sunlight from this hour to this hour. This is how much skin was exposed. It was cloudy or not cloudy. You can say like what percentage of all these things are. So it's a really helpful app. I recommend it if you're trying to track your vitamin D status. Next is lacto-fermented condiments and beverages. I do have a lot of those in my household. I make kombucha weekly. Let's see what else. We do have sauerkraut, kimchi. I recently bought some ferments at the store, like mother-in-law's, different sauces, and I bought like a sriracha, I think it's wild brine sriracha kimchi sauce. We have that. We have some other stuff too, but that's what I can think of off the top of my head. So I do try to get in fermented food, beet kvass, bone broths used in soups, stews, and sauces. I definitely use bone broth in a lot of my cooking, whether it's for soups, stews, or just cooking rice. I always cook my rice in bone broth. I don't use water. If I'm cooking beans, I put a bone in there, like a marrow bone type of thing, like a thicker bone. And because otherwise I would use up all my bone broth if I just cooked it in bone broth, but I just use water, and then I put like 1 or 2 bones in it, depending on how big the batch is. But yeah, I try to cook like all my grains and beans in bone broth or a bone of some sort. Soaked or sourdough whole grains. Yes, I do that. I soak all my grains, and now I'm into sourdough baking. So yes, I definitely do that. Fresh vegetables and fruits. Yep, I definitely do that too. And then finally, it says, please avoid trans fatty acids, polyunsaturated vegetable oils, refined and artificial sweeteners, commercial fried foods, junk foods, soy foods, white flour, soft drinks, caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, even prescription drugs. And yeah, even prescription drugs you want to be careful with, because if you look at instances from the past, there was, I think it was the year 1960, they started to give pregnant women who were having bad morning sickness, they gave them this drug. I don't remember the name of the drug, but it caused severe birth defects. And it was like this wonder miracle drug at the time, because like it was curing pregnant women of their morning sickness. And some women were having really bad morning sickness, but they didn't realize what the side effects were going to be. So even though your doctor says it might be something safe, there might still be side effects. I don't know if, like, even if your doctor recommends it, I don't know if you're getting like true informed consent on these sorts of things, because usually the doctor doesn't go through the side effects with you. Maybe they do, I don't know, but just be careful with that. Like, I know there are women that go on drugs for morning sickness, and it doesn't do the same thing that the one in the past did, but still it's obviously better to do something more natural. And so that's why I have other videos on my channel about that. In my last pregnancy, I had a morning sickness video, and it was really good. It's basically a miracle product. Like, I never had hyperemesis gravidarum or HG, like some women have, the severe form of morning sickness. But the product that I talk about on there was designed for women with HG. So definitely check it out. I tell like all my friends about it, a lot of women about it, because I know so many women don't know a proper solution for morning sickness. And this company made like all kinds of things that are so helpful and even take it away completely. And so the woman who designed it, she had HG, and she was giving like a prognosis of not living, you know, and she survived it. So, but she went on to create this company with these wonderful products. So it's not an MLM or anything, thankfully, but yeah, it's a really great company. I will link to that video in the cards and in the notes below. I think that's about it. Yeah, just get proper sunshine, exercise, sleep, avoid stressful things, eat an overall wholesome diet like the Weston A. Price Foundation recommends, and you know, work with natural practitioners if you can. Try to avoid things, even avoid things like Tylenol, because there was a study with pregnant women, and they found that the mothers who had taken Tylenol during pregnancy, that their children were more likely to have autism and ADHD. So everybody says like Tylenol is so safe, but it really isn't. So just try to find more natural solutions for headaches or pain, whatever it is. Sometimes you can't avoid it, but maybe try to talk to your doctor about an alternative if you absolutely can't avoid a painkiller or something like Tylenol. Just tell them what your concerns are, what I talked about in this video, and say, is there something that is better? Like, I know turmeric in higher doses, or curcumin, can be used like as a replacement for headache pain. So that might be something you want to consider. But anyway, I hope you have found this video to be helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I hope you have a wonderful week, and may God bless you and your family.